My parents called off my 18th birthday for my sister's outburst, so I silently left home and watched there. This story starts 2 years ago, right around my 18th birthday. I'm 20 now and still pretty emotional about it all, but seeing how things turned out? Worth every single agonizing moment. My sister, Britney, she's 24, and ever since she was born she's been the family's golden child. I'm talking full-blown princess syndrome, the kind of entitlement that makes strangers stare when she throws adult tantrums in public. We grew up in suburban Phoenix. My dad, Kenneth, owned a decent-sized construction company and my mom, Linda, was a high-end real estate agent. Combined, they pulled in over $200,000 a year. So yeah, upper middle class, big house, pool, 2-car garage, the whole Arizona dream. You'd think there'd be enough for both of us to thrive, right? Wrong. Britney learned early on that tears and tantrums got her everything. Full-scale meltdowns, screaming, threatening to hurt herself. It was always a show. By the time I could even understand what was happening, the pattern was set in stone. She got a brand new BMW for her 16th birthday, custom rims, everything. Meh. I got Dad's old work truck. 200,000 miles, rust spots, a radio that only played AM. The difference wasn't subtle. She got a $3,200 monthly allowance through her 6 years of on and off college. Meh. I worked 25 hours a week at a gym just to cover gas, clothes, and school supplies. When Britney wanted to redecorate her room for the 3rd time in 2 years, Mom and Dad dropped $8,000 on designer furniture. When I asked for help with AP textbook costs, they told me to learn financial responsibility. A month-long trip to Europe with her sorority sisters? $6,000, no questions asked. My $400 leadership camp? Family budget is tight this month. The examples were endless, infuriating. She crashed her brand new BMW texting and driving, and Dad bought her an even newer one. I got a speeding ticket going 5 over in a school zone, grounded for a month, paid the fine myself. She failed organic chemistry twice, got expensive tutoring. I needed help with calculus. Figure it out yourself, you're smart enough. And here's the kicker. While Britney was out there creating chaos, I was the one holding our family together. She partied, skipped classes, treated college like an extended vacation. I maintained a 4.2 GPA, worked part-time, volunteered at the animal shelter, tutored younger kids, and handled most of the household stuff that adults should have been managing. I remembered to pay the water bill when Mom was busy. I picked up Dad's dry cleaning. I grocery shopped, meal planned, cleaned up Britney's messes, both literally and figuratively. My parents justified it all by saying Britney was sensitive, emotionally fragile, still finding herself. Meanwhile, I was naturally responsible, mature for my age, and could handle things independently. They made my reliability sound like a reason to give me less care, not more recognition. Every time I succeeded, it was expected. Every time Britney failed, it was a family tragedy. The worst part? They'd use me to fix her problems, then she'd get all the credit. When she crashed the BMW, I spent my entire weekend helping Dad with the insurance. When she finally passed organic chemistry, it was after months of me tutoring her. When she got arrested for underage drinking, I was the one picking her up from jail at 3 a.m. because Mom and Dad were too disappointed. But when she finally graduated community college 2 years late, "We're so proud of how you overcame your challenges," Mom would gush. I was the family's unpaid intern, essential but invisible. I kept telling myself it would change when I turned 18. Finally, legal adulthood. Finally, respect. Finally, recognition. I could not have been more wrong. So, 2 years ago, I'm about to turn 18. This was supposed to be huge. Legal adulthood, high school graduation around the corner, early acceptance to Arizona State with partial scholarships. I'd looked forward to this birthday for years. For once, I wanted to be the center of attention in a positive way, not fixing someone's problem but being celebrated for me. I asked my parents for a simple party, family, friends, maybe 25 to 30 people, grilling in the backyard. I even offered to help pay. Mom and Dad seemed excited. Our baby's becoming a man. Dad even offered to rent an inflatable obstacle course. We spent weeks planning. Invitations, custom cake, menu, music playlist. I invited everyone who mattered. My best friend, my girlfriend, my wrestling teammates, my gym coworkers, my favorite teacher, even my boss. This was my moment. Then, 3 days before the party, Britney's spring break trip to Cancun got canceled. She'd planned it for months. Luxury resort, beachfront parties, Instagram photo shoots, the whole influencer dream. Dad had already dropped $4,500 on her portion. But her friends had some massive falling out and suddenly the trip was off. Deposits lost, Britney stuck at home. She came home Friday afternoon absolutely losing her mind. A full-scale nuclear meltdown, crying, screaming, throwing things. She'd been counting on this trip as her reward. My parents immediately went into full crisis mode. Mom called in sick to comfort her, canceling client meetings and losing commissions. Dad canceled golf and poker. They ordered her favorite expensive Thai food, ran her a bubble bath, even called her therapist. They treated it like she was grieving a death, not missing a vacation most people could never afford. Saturday morning, less than 24 hours before my party, I'm in the kitchen, 7 a.m., prepping food, setting up decorations. Britney strolls downstairs in her silk pajamas, eyes still puffy. "I can't handle having a party here tomorrow," she announced like a medical diagnosis. "I'm too emotionally fragile. The noise, all those people, it will trigger my anxiety and set back my emotional recovery." My stomach dropped. "Britney, it's my birthday party. We've planned this for weeks." "I know, and I'm sorry about the timing," she said, fresh tears already starting. "But I'm going through something really traumatic. I need the house to be calm and peaceful. A party would be really insensitive to my current emotional state." Mom immediately started nodding. "She has a point, honey. Your sister is dealing with a lot of disappointment." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, it's my 18th. People are expecting to come. I invited my teacher, my boss, Sarah's parents." That's when Britney played her trump card. "If you really cared about me as your sister, you'd postpone it until I'm feeling better. Families should support each other, not make things worse by being selfish." Then Dad walked in. He immediately sided with her without even hearing my side. "Son, your sister needs us right now. You're strong enough to handle a little disappointment. She's not built the same way you are." "But Dad, everyone's expecting to celebrate tomorrow. I ordered a cake, decorations." "We'll reschedule for next weekend," he said, firm, already moving on. "Family comes first, and right now your sister needs our support more than you need a party. You'll have plenty of other birthdays." The casual dismissal of my milestone birthday, the dismissal of me as a person who mattered, hit me like a physical punch. This wasn't just about a party. This was 18 years of being treated like my needs, my feelings, my accomplishments didn't matter. I spent the rest of Saturday making humiliating phone calls. My girlfriend was confused and hurt. My friends were disappointed. My teacher was genuinely concerned. My boss, understanding but clearly thought it was weird. I had to lie to everyone, say I was suddenly sick, because I couldn't admit my own family had canceled my 18th birthday for my sister's vacation drama. The humiliation was unbearable. Meanwhile, Britney spent the entire day lounging by the pool in a designer bikini, posting melancholy Instagram stories about dealing with life's disappointments. She looked like she was at a spa, not processing emotional trauma. That night, alone in my room on what should have been the eve of my celebration, I made a decision that would change the trajectory of my entire life. I was done. Done being their emotional support animal, their problem solver, their unpaid maintenance staff. The next morning, my actual 18th birthday, I woke up to absolutely zero acknowledgement. No happy birthday, no special breakfast, no gifts. Mom was too busy making Britney her expensive organic protein smoothie, and Dad was already at a construction site. The house felt exactly the same, except now I was officially an adult being treated like an invisible child. Around noon, Britney had the absolute audacity to complain that I was bringing down the mood by being quiet. "It's not my fault your party got canceled," she said, scrolling through her phone. "You don't have to take your bad mood out on everyone else. Some of us are dealing with real problems." That's when something fundamental snapped inside me. I realized I had options. I was 18, legally an adult. I had money saved. I had friends whose families actually valued me. Most importantly, I had the grades, the scholarships, the college acceptance to build a life independent of these people. I started making strategic phone calls from my room. First, my wrestling coach. His family had always been kind, they had an extra room. When I explained, generally they immediately offered for me to stay. "You're like a son to us anyway," his wife said. "We'd be honored." Second, my boss at the gym. He'd been pushing me to take more hours. When I asked about full-time work, he said he could start me at 30 hours a week, immediately. "You're the most responsible kid I've ever hired. If you need more income, I've got opportunities." Third, my school counselor. She was shocked and immediately offered to help me figure out finishing senior year independently. "What your parents did was completely inappropriate," she said. "An 18th birthday is a major milestone, and canceling it for the reasons you described shows a serious problem with family priorities." By Sunday evening, I had a comprehensive plan. The next week I acted completely normal. School, work, household chores like nothing had changed. My parents actually seemed proud that I was handling disappointment maturely. But what they didn't know was that I was quietly moving my important belongings out of the house. A few items each day to my coach's place. Documents, electronics, clothes, books, trophies. Anything that mattered. I also stopped doing all the little things that kept the household running. Didn't remind Dad about bills. Didn't organize Mom's paperwork. Didn't clean up random messes. Didn't grocery shop or meal plan. The following Saturday, exactly 1 week after my canceled birthday, I finished the job. Parents were out, Britney was at the mall. I packed the rest into garbage bags and boxes, systematically emptying my room. I left a note on my bed with my house key. It said, "Since my needs, feelings, and milestones don't seem to matter in this family, I've decided to go somewhere they do. Don't contact me unless you're ready to genuinely apologize and make real changes to how you treat me. I'll finish high school and start my adult life with people who actually value and respect me. This isn't a tantrum or a phase. This is me choosing to surround myself with people who treat me like I matter." I loaded everything into my old truck, took one last look at the house I'd lived in for 18 years and drove away. I knew with absolute certainty I'd never live there again. The immediate sense of relief and freedom was overwhelming. For the first time in my life, I was making a major decision purely based on what was best for me, not what was most convenient for everyone else. Quick pause, fellas. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way. Thanks so much for your support. Alright, back to the drama. Living with my coach's family was like stepping into a parallel universe where children were actually valued, supported, and treated with respect. They celebrated my presence, asked about my day, included me in decisions. They treated me like a valued family member, not unpaid household help. For the first time, I felt like I was truly wanted. Meanwhile, my original family was falling apart without me there to hold everything together. And watching it unfold? It was fascinating and honestly so satisfying. The first signs appeared within days. I'd been handling most of the administrative tasks. Bill reminders, appointments, grocery shopping, organization. Without their unpaid personal assistant, things started slipping. Within 3 weeks, they'd missed their mortgage payment, got hit with late fees on credit cards, and Mom lost a major client because she forgot a crucial deadline I normally would have tracked. But the real chaos? That was Britney. With me gone, my parents suddenly had to deal with her problems directly, no buffer, no mediator. And oh boy did she have problems. First, she failed 2 classes and got put on academic probation. Without me to tutor her, help with assignments, or basically do half her coursework, she was completely lost. She'd relied on my help for so long she never learned how to study. Dad had to hire an expensive private tutor at $75 an hour. Britney kept skipping sessions because she didn't vibe with the teaching style. Then she got arrested again. This time for shoplifting at an upscale boutique. Apparently, she'd been stealing makeup, accessories, and clothes for months. She got caught trying to swipe a $300 purse and the store pressed charges. Dad had to hire an attorney, pay thousands in legal fees, restitution, court costs. The worst part? She wasn't stealing because she couldn't afford things, but because she enjoyed the thrill and felt entitled to whatever she wanted. But the most devastating discovery was that she'd been systematically stealing from Mom and Dad for years. With me gone, there was no one to cover for missing money, make excuses, or help balance the books. They found out she'd been taking cash from Mom's purse, using Dad's credit cards for unauthorized purchases, even forging signatures on checks. The total? Over $35,000 in unauthorized spending over 2 years. Money that could have paid for my college, their retirement. Instead of finally holding her accountable, they doubled down on enabling. Dad took out a second mortgage to pay for her legal fees and debt. Mom started working 7 days a week to cover the extra expenses. I watched all of this unfold through social media, mutual friends, community gossip. My parents looked exhausted, stressed, their perfect family image publicly cracking. They tried calling me constantly. Dozens of increasingly desperate voicemails, begging me to come home, to help the family, to be the mature one. But notice what was consistently missing from every single message. No apology for canceling my birthday, no acknowledgement of how unfairly they treated me. Just guilt trips about how my absence was making their lives harder. "Please son, we need you here. Your sister is really struggling without you," Dad's voicemails would say. "Your mom and I don't know how to handle all these problems on our own." But I stayed strong. I didn't respond. I was thriving. 4.2 GPA, 30 hours a week at work, wrestling team, genuine friendships. a healthy relationship with Sarah. I was finally living for myself. By the time I graduated high school with honors and a full scholarship to ASU, my original family situation had gone from bad to absolutely catastrophic. Britney had dropped out of college entirely, expelled for academic dishonesty. She'd been caught having other students write her papers, paying people to take online tests, even submitting stolen assignments. The final straw was trying to bribe a professor. Dad, desperate, paid $15,000 to some sketchy online program that promised her a business management degree in 6 months. Obviously, it was a scam, leaving them with a worthless certificate and more debt. Mom's real estate career suffered badly. Too distracted, stressed, emotionally drained. She lost major deals, missed appointments, made mistakes. Her reputation in the competitive Phoenix market tanked. Dad's construction company struggled too. Without me there for paperwork and administration, he made costly mistakes. He'd also borrowed heavily against the business for Britney's crises. But the real kicker was their social standing. People in our close-knit suburban neighborhood started noticing. Britney's legal troubles made it into the local police blotter. Their financial stress became obvious. They sold Dad's boat, then Mom's luxury car, then started skipping social events. Worst of all, word got around about why I'd left home. My former teachers, wrestling teammates, friends' parents started asking questions. When the truth came out about my 18th birthday being canceled for Britney's vacation drama, the community judgment was swift and harsh. Phoenix is big, but our community isn't. Reputation matters. Other parents started avoiding mine. Dad began losing potential business. Mom lost clients who wanted agents with good judgment and stable family values. Her family's dysfunction became a professional liability. The contrast was stark in public. Here I was, thriving, academic achievements, winning wrestling matches celebrated by my coach's family and teachers. And my original family? Imploding in spectacular fashion. They'd built their entire identity around being the successful family with perfect kids. Without me there to maintain that image, and with Britney's problems becoming public, it all collapsed. The calls and messages to me became daily, multiple times a day. The voicemails got longer, more desperate, more revealing of how badly things were falling apart. Son, please. We know we made mistakes, but we need you here. Your mother is crying every night. The business is struggling. People in the neighborhood keep asking about you. But I held firm. I was living my best life. Graduated with a 4.0 GPA. Full scholarship to ASU. Promoted to shift supervisor. Healthy relationship. Real friends. Then, at the beginning of my sophomore year in college, about 18 months after I'd left home, Britney had her biggest crisis yet. This time, it destroyed what remained of my parents' financial stability and social standing. She'd gotten involved with some guy who convinced her she could make easy money through crypto. It was an obvious pyramid scheme, promising 500% returns. Using her access to family finances, Britney transferred $45,000 from my parents' savings. Their entire emergency fund. Most of their retirement. Money they'd planned to use to pay off the second mortgage. When the investment predictably disappeared with the scammers, my parents lost everything. But that wasn't even the worst part. Over the previous year, she'd been systematically running up debt in my parents' names. Credit cards they didn't know about, personal loans using their information, even a car loan for a vehicle she immediately crashed while driving under the influence. She'd become sophisticated in her financial manipulation. By the time they discovered the full extent of her fraud, she'd created over $80,000 in debt that they were legally responsible for. Combined with the lost savings, the total financial damage was well over $125,000. Enough to completely destroy their middle-class lifestyle. The financial devastation was swift and complete. They had to declare bankruptcy, which ruined their credit and professional reputations. They were forced to sell the house they'd lived in for 15 years, the house where I'd grown up, the house that represented their American dream. They moved into a small, 2-bedroom apartment in a less desirable part of town, lost most of their possessions, and faced the reality of starting over financially in their 50s. Dad's construction business collapsed. Mom took a job at a big corporate real estate firm, making a fraction of her previous income. But the personal cost was even higher. Britney, faced with actual consequences for the first time in her 26 years, had a complete mental breakdown. She couldn't handle the reality that her actions had destroyed her family's stability. She moved back in with my parents in their tiny apartment, completely dependent on them. She couldn't hold a job, couldn't manage adult responsibilities. My parents, now in their 50s, financially devastated, found themselves caring for a 26-year-old woman-child while living paycheck to paycheck. The stress destroyed their marriage. After 25 years, they separated 6 months later. Dad moved in with his brother, working construction for former competitors. Mom took a second job at a retail store, working 60 hours a week just to make ends meet. The perfect family image was gone. Last month, everything came full circle in the most satisfying, vindicating way possible. I was at my apartment near ASU studying for finals when I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Dad calling from his brother's phone. I'd blocked all their numbers over a year ago. "Son," he said, and I could hear years of exhaustion, defeat, and genuine desperation in his voice. "Please don't hang up. I know you have every right to hate us. But we need to talk. We need to ask for your help." I almost ended the call, but something in his tone, a brokenness I'd never heard, made me listen. "Your mother and I, we've lost everything. The house, the business, our savings, our marriage, our reputation. We're living apart now, both working multiple minimum wage jobs just to survive. And Britney is completely dependent on us. But we can't even take care of ourselves anymore." He was quiet for a moment. I could hear him struggling. "We know why you left. We've had 2 years to think about it, and we know we treated you terribly. We canceled your 18th birthday for something that didn't matter. And we've been paying the price ever since. You were the one holding our family together, and we threw you away like you didn't matter." For the first time in my life, I heard genuine remorse and self-awareness. "We need help," he admitted. I could tell how much it cost him to say those words. "Not money. We know we don't deserve that. But advice. Guidance. Someone who knows how to make responsible decisions. You're the only one in this family who has their life together. You're thriving in college. You've built a life for yourself. You've become everything we should have supported you to be from the beginning." I let him finish. He talked about how proud they were of my grades, my independence, my maturity, how they'd been following my social media from a distance, bragging to people about my accomplishments while pretending they were still part of my life. "People ask about you all the time," he said. "They want to know how our successful son is doing in college, and we have to pretend we still have a relationship when the truth is we destroyed it through our own selfishness and poor judgment." Then Mom got on the phone, openly crying. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I know we don't deserve your forgiveness, but we've realized that you were the best thing about our family, and we threw it away. We don't know how to fix any of this without you. We don't know how to help Britney. We've made so many mistakes, but the biggest one was not valuing you when we had you." When they finished their emotional speeches, I took a deep breath. I told them exactly what I thought, with the clarity and confidence that comes from 2 years of independence and personal growth. "You're absolutely right. You don't deserve forgiveness. You canceled my 18th birthday because Britney's vacation got canceled. You spent my entire childhood treating me like unpaid help while giving her everything she wanted. You enabled her into becoming a financial criminal who destroyed your lives. And you did it because you couldn't bear to hold her accountable for anything. But here's the thing," I continued, feeling stronger and more certain with every word. "I don't need your family anymore. I've built something better without you. I have people who value me, support me, and celebrate my successes. I have mentors who believe in me, friends who respect me, and a future that I'm building through my own efforts. I don't need to be your emotional support child or your problem solver." The silence on the other end was profound, telling. "However," I said, surprising myself with my next words, "I'm willing to have a relationship with you under very specific conditions. First, Britney gets serious professional help and starts contributing to society instead of being a drain on everyone around her. She needs to get a job, pay back what she stole, and prove she can function as an adult. Second, you both acknowledge publicly that you treated me unfairly and that my leaving was completely justified. Third, any relationship we have going forward is based on mutual respect, not your need for me to fix problems you created." Dad's voice was barely a whisper. "Anything. We'll do anything you ask. And fourth," I added, "you need to understand that I'm not your son coming home to save the family. I'm an independent adult offering a conditional relationship to people who need to prove they've fundamentally changed how they approach family dynamics and personal responsibility." They agreed to every condition without hesitation or negotiation. Over the past month, I've watched them follow through. Dad has gotten Britney into intensive therapy and required her to get a part-time job at a fast food restaurant, her first real employment in years. Mom has been working on a public apology letter acknowledging their mistakes and my justified decision to leave. They're both in family counseling to address their enabling behaviors and learn healthier patterns. Will I ever fully forgive them? Probably not. The damage was too deep, lasted too long. But watching them lose everything they prioritized over me, while I built a successful, independent life, has been the most satisfying revenge I could have asked for. So, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to cut ties to save yourself? I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments below.